breathtaking. And it's astonishing scenery like this that creates a yearning to live in a fabulous home by the sea.
There's a magnetic attraction that seems to draw us to the ocean, and once under its spell, it's impossible to resist.
Last summer, I had a unique opportunity to explore some of Britain's best seaside homes.
That journey was just a drop in the ocean when it comes to the awe-inspiring coastal properties and amazing locations that we have in these islands.
I'll discover how the elements helped shape the architecture of our seaside towns.
That's a pretty epic view, isn't it?
I'll design my own fantasy coastal houses.
You could just grab your board, run around that headland, get in and catch some waves. That'd be really nice.
And meet more people lucky enough to call our superb shoreline home.
Oh yeah.
Is that good?
Oh, that's really nice. Look at that! That is stunning and really surprising.
This week I'm leaving the United Kingdom and travelling across the English Channel to Jersey and Guernsey, where magnificent headlands are crowned with modern masterpieces. Old farm buildings are transformed into fabulous family homes, and historic houses serve up fantastic experiences.
There's bowls set into the wall. I've never been to the Channel Islands, and I'm interested to see how the influences of Britain and France, which is much closer, have shaped the culture and architecture of this fascinating archipelago.
Situated 75 miles south of England and within touching distance of Normandy, 19 islands and islets make up the Channel Islands. And I'm here to visit the largest two. Jersey and Guernsey are British Crown dependencies and are self-governed, but remain possessions of the Crown. Both islands are centres for offshore financial investment, meaning luxury yachts like the one bringing me into port are a common sight in these waters.
Just over there on the horizon is Jersey, but first I'm going to Guernsey and its picturesque capital, St. Peter Port.
A natural anchorage since Roman times, the legacy of invasion and defence has definitely played its part influencing the island's rich architectural heritage.
The harbour is guarded by one of Guernsey's most striking buildings, the imposing Castle Cornet, and it's been protecting the entrance for over 700 years.
From the delightful marina, I don't have to go far around its shoreline to find a traditional example of Guernsey architecture. Located on fertile farming land the islands are famous for.
Like with many rural areas, the dominant building type round here would have been the farmstead. And in the case of Guernsey, that's this, the longhouse, so called because it's quite long and one room wide. Now, on the ground floor, you would have had the kitchen, and on this side, the byre, so the animals would have been in there. The main bedrooms and living space on the top, all built of local, hard-wearing granite. And this living architectural heritage is still influencing the way that new houses are designed and built here on Guernsey today. And it's to one of those that I'm going first.
I'm travelling to the Jerbourg peninsula on the island's southeastern tip. To visit visit a 21st century longhouse that's anything but traditional. Basking in its own majestic splendour with views out to St Peter Port and the Channel. This house is a fusion of granite, zinc and slate. A shimmering palette of at least 50 shades of grey. Showing me round her spectacular home is owner Alex Haining.
That's a very beautiful house.
Thank you. We think so too.
And when you first look at that, you might say, well, how on earth does that reference the traditional Guernsey longhouse?
Well, I think it is the idea that when you see the Guernsey longhouse, when you come in, you only see the side of the house, and then it goes away from you,
Yeah.
and that's the idea.
So it's the fact that it's one room wide. You get the double aspects of light. That's kind of where you're thinking about this, about this longhouse tradition.
But as well as the elongated vernacular architecture of a Guernsey farmhouse, there's a reference to some of the island's brutalist wartime structures too.
In this area, we have quite a lot of the German architecture, which, you come into the house, you see that's kind of private and hidden.
It's kind of half contemporary glass cube and sort of half bunker. And I love this kind of linear language with the kind of the glass opening, as you say, much like the bunker and the kind of gun emplacement opening.
When property developer Alex and her husband Andrew bought the plot 9 years ago, it came with an unspectacular 1950s villa. They then spent 3 years just formulating the optimum design to maximise this staggering, elevated location.
I think what's so amazing about it is that it's just trees and an ocean, and there's no one in front of you.
No. And you literally drop down through the garden to the cliff path, and from there down to the small cove beaches where the smugglers used to come in. You've got the smugglers' rings down there. It's very special.
But if the sea is a stroll too far, then there's always the chance to take a dip in the slate infinity pool on the patio.
We went with the grey to keep the theme, and the idea is that obviously when you're in the water, you feel that you're almost swimming out to sea. And it's the same temperature as the sea. So
is it?
Yes, I'm afraid to say.
Keep you tough. You don't want to get too soft, do you?
From the never-ending views from the pool.
So I take it these doors sort of all slide back?
Yeah, completely open, so you've just got the panels at either end that remain in place.
I'm keen to dive into the flowing, continuous space of the ground floor.
Love these concrete pillars. And
they're cool.
That's nice.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's great.
The solid industrial materials from which the house has been crafted and the stark white walls are softened by the vibrant and colourful interior furnishings.
Too many hard surfaces, too much sort of granite and stone, concrete. Would have been, I think, too hard, and you want it to be cosy as well.
It's funny, isn't it? Those very subtle indicators, those clues to the way you should occupy a space, really help you understand them. So wood, sit, calm, quiet. Concrete, beautiful polished concrete, by the way. Cooking, kind of more activity. It really makes sense. It differentiates the space and makes it feel more homely in a way.
Alex has used top lighting to create mood. But just as important is what comes permanently flooding in from outside.
No curtains.
No, I just didn't want to interfere with the space. Curtains, particularly with this span of window, would have taken up a huge amount to the side. We do have curtains upstairs in our bedroom. You can see the lights of France at night in the distance.
Can you?
Yes, absolutely. So that's nice, so you can see what's going on. And if ever they have fireworks at the castle, which they do for special events, it's particularly dramatic.
Upstairs are much more enclosed spaces.
These are nice, aren't they? These light slits.
Well, I think in a long corridor like this, it's quite good to break up the lights.
Which then opens out into the magnificent master bedroom suite.
Do you know what I love? I love when you come in and the ceiling steps up and then it runs sort of just out, just that hint out to the edge. So you just get sky and sea and trees.
I know. The idea is that you're on a prow of a ship. So as you walk forward, you can have your Titanic moment out there and feel like you're setting off to
Sail off.
Off to new. Yeah, exactly.
For me, it's the home's seamless connection from the living spaces to the sea that is so special. And what better way to celebrate this bond than with some locally sourced seafood fresh off the boat.
Now that is a seafood platter. Look at that.
So we've got the shanker crab, we've got the spider crab, which is only in just a very short season. Obviously lobsters, bit of
Samphire.
salmon, mussels. Yeah, just a bit of everything. Hope you're hungry.
That's magic.
After 30 years living in London, designing and building this house represents a spectacular homecoming for Alex. She was born in Guernsey and her family have lived on the island for over 60 years.
I mean, it must be really nice because your grandparents live very, very nearby here.
Absolutely. My grandparents bought a house here sort of after the war, just literally 2 houses away. And my mother lives there now, and my sister lives just down the road in the village. So it's very much a family place.
Well, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
For the cider, for the platter, for showing me your house.
Jerry.
Thank you.
On the next stage of my tour, I discover the explosive secret behind one restoration project.
Wait a second. Your father dynamited the inside of the windmill.
And visit the remarkable seaside home of one of the world's greatest writers.
So it's almost like he's unpacking his mind, this brilliant mind. It's extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary.
First ever trip to the Channel Islands, digging deep into its heritage to uncover some amazing seaside homes.
The last house I visited was a contemporary take on a traditional design. The next place I'm going to is a 200-year-old building that's being brought right up to date for 21st century living.
Guernsey is a small island, and the rugged coastline naturally dominates. But lush landscapes mean agriculture has also played an important role here. And this magnificent windmill, which towers over the parish of St Martin's, is testament to that farming past. The sails, once powered by bracing winds off the channel, are long gone. And the mill's restoration into a remarkable home has been an ongoing labour of love for jeweller Catherine Best.
Tell me a bit about the history of the windmill.
The windmill was built in 1825 by a chap called James Ozanne, who wanted a windmill to become a cooperative. So he built this, and he built an outer wall, which is quite unusual, which you can sort of see from here.
So that's a sort of circular skirt at the base of the tower?
Yeah, and that outer wall actually became a grain store for all the separate farmers that all lived around here.
I've never seen that.
There's not many around. We actually do get windmill spotters that come to see this outer wall.
Because of that circular store?
Because it's so unique.
The mill was bought in a dilapidated state by Catherine's dad, and his first attempts to convert it could easily have cost him his life.
My dad was a bit of a lunatic, to be totally honest. And to get rid of everything that was inside the mill, which was all the workings from when it had been a workable mill in those days, he got some dynamite, dynamited the insides.
Wait a second. Your father dynamited the inside of the windmill?
Yeah, apparently the dynamite came from some that the Germans had left here after the war.
Aren't you a bit suspicious? You knew a bit much about dynamite.
No, if you knew my father.
Right, okay. Enough said.
It takes vision to tackle a project this big, and Catherine's clearly a chip off the old block. But where her dad used brute force, here there's subtlety and intelligence at play. The former grain store has been turned into a 360-degree curve of modern living.
Oh, that's a lovely space, with the tower of the windmill just coming up through the middle of it. It's brilliant. So this is the outer wall of the old grain store here. And you've put this glassy roof around the whole top of it. That's extraordinary. I didn't expect that.
Engineered in Austria, this astonishing ring of skylights is made up of retractable glass panels, which slide open to reveal clear skies above.
We live in a windmill. There's a lot of wind on this island, so on certain days you wouldn't want to be outside, but you can actually be inside here, sheltered from the wind, with a nice open roof.
That's very lavish.
Sadly today, work on the tower above means I can't put it to the test. So I'll just have to take Catherine's word for it.
But what I love about it is that it's a big open plan space, but there's privacy, isn't there? I mean, someone could be sat around that corner or around that corner, and you're not sort of aware of them.
It's bizarre, to be honest. We've got like 5 different places you can sit in this one area. And we move around depending on what mood we're in, what the weather's doing. So yeah, this has just transformed it. Totally.
With her jewellery shop below, this stylish home takes living above the shop to a whole new level, and then some.
What's this?
This is...
Well, it's Kathy's sweet shop.
This is the most important room in the house.
Oh my gosh.
What would you like?
Do you know what I love? You've got a pear drop.
I have got pear drops.
I like a pear drop. You're quite unconventional, aren't you?
I like to be slightly different.
But this pick and mix feeling to the outer ring is only half the story. Like a Russian doll, there's a house within a house, the mill itself.
Ah, so this is actually in the base of the windmill.
Yeah.
The pink and grey granite shell of the tower lends a very different feel.
What I really love is the contrast between that external loop that really looks out and has the sun pouring in, and this very much interior space at the base of the windmill, much cooler and darker.
Yeah, I'd say this is the calm room. This is the place you come and you really relax.
The mill has 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. But I'm heading to the very top, where there's one last treat in store. These stunning panoramic views out to sea. And it's here where the final stage in this epic restoration is about to take shape.
What are you actually doing up here?
We're actually going to go up basically another whole floor. We're going to be putting a glass floor above, and then this roof dome is going to be a lot deeper, and it's going to actually open 180 degrees.
Right, wow.
The new retractable dome will raise the height of the mill to 70 foot. And Kathy plans to make the new floor the ultimate party space, with a bar and seating to soak up the uninterrupted views of the island.
So this is the structure?
Yeah, and it's going to open out to the west coast.
So this way?
Yeah.
So that view will just be standing in open air?
Yeah.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Those beautiful observatories.
Yeah.
You know, where they have those sections that slide open and the whole thing moves. I think it's brilliant. I love the bravery. I love the sort of sheer enthusiasm of the whole thing. And, you know, I can't wait to see this off and a new bit on.
Me too.
If you fancy soaking up this scenery by buying your own place on the Channel Islands, then being able to afford the hefty price tag won't be the only obstacle, as many homes are only available for local residents. But for anyone with deep pockets and determination, there are gems to be had. Overlooking the packed quay in Jersey's capital, St Helier, is an apartment in this modern waterfront development. Two's company here. Beds, baths and parking spaces come in pairs, while the price comes in eights. £880,000. Or if seclusion's more your style, then hop over to Guernsey. This 5-bed pad near Saint-Pierre comes with open-plan living in 4 acres of remote headland. There's even your own fortification, if you've got anything left to guard after shelling out £6.5 million. And finally, in Guernsey's capital, are Georgian homes that are full of pastel panache. The cream of them are in the town's historic quarter, where this 4-bedroom terrace is available at a shade over £1 million. But just around the corner from classic English architecture, there's a very different side to the capital.
This part of St. Petersburg has a real French feel to it, from the names of the streets and houses to the style of the buildings. Look at that lovely mansard there and that beautiful French-looking house.
One maison magnifique that really oozes Gallic charm is Hauteville House. This is where legendary French writer Victor Hugo lived and worked for 14 years. Penning classics such as Les Miserables during his time here.
I've been told that going into this house is like taking a trip into the great man's mind. That sounds intriguing.
From the simple white render exterior with fluttering tricolour, there's little to hint at what lies behind the green double doors. Inside, it's like nothing I've seen before. An interior style that's eclectic, opulent, and sometimes just a little crazy.
So this is the entrance hall of the house. There's plates, but there's not just plates on the wall. There's porcelain, and it's on the ceiling. It's like a kind of magpie collection. Everywhere you look, every surface is covered in decoration.
Hugo's son once described this house as an autograph on 3 floors, and there's certainly insights into the great man's mind everywhere.
So this is the dining room. There's bowls set into the wall, so you get this incredible 3-dimensional decoration going on. The creativity is just endless. There's these what look like political slogans carved in the wall.
Expelled from his homeland for his anti-Napoleonic views, this house was not just his writing retreat, it was an artistic endeavour in its own right.
So it's almost like he's unpacking his mind, this brilliant mind, and plastering it onto the surfaces of the inside of the house. I don't think I've ever quite seen anything as intricate and considered. Absolutely extraordinary.
Hauteville was the only house Hugo ever owned, and working your way up the tapestry-lined stairs, you sense furnishing it became almost an obsession.
So I've come up another story onto a different floor, and the character of the house has changed again completely. Every single surface here seems to be covered in carving, carved wood. And there's a bed with a skull over the top of the bed. Now, I know that Victor Hugo was a stage designer, playwright in his early career, and there's so much of that idea of stage set everywhere you go, that these objects are trying to say something to you, are talking to you. I have no idea what this room is trying to say, though.
Perhaps the most significant part of this house, as befits the man who created the Hunchback of Notre Dame, is at the very top.
And this was called the Crystal Room, and it's actually where he works. He wanted a really light, bright space. And if you think this idea of the glass, the sheets of glass with the sea view is a modern idea, it isn't. This is one of the very first ones. And he would write standing up here, and he would lay his papers out on here on this sort of padded ziggurat to dry. But if you stand here, on a clear day, you can see France. So this man was in exile, writing from here, looking at his homeland. That's pretty poignant.
Hugo did eventually cross the water and return to his beloved France. And like him, it's also time for me to leave Guernsey. I'm island hopping to neighbouring Jersey for the next part of my adventure, to a former railway station that's been turned into a first-class home.
Look at that, that is beautiful.
And how divine intervention led a vicar and his wife to the perfect island parish.
Out of the blue, I got a letter from the Dean inviting me to come and have a look at this parish.
So here we are. There is a God after all.
I'm in the Channel Islands, British Crown dependencies that lie just off the Normandy coast. So far, I've explored homes on Guernsey. From a modern interpretation of the traditional longhouse to the fantastical former home of writer Victor Hugo. I've loved what I've seen so far, but I couldn't come to this part of the world without heading to its sister island, Jersey.
There's a real rivalry between the two islands that some say dates back to the Civil War, when Jersey was royalist and Guernsey sided with Parliament. But whatever the reason, whether it's to do with Charles I or just that innate competition you get between near neighbours, I'm off now to Jersey to see what I can find.
Lying just 12 nautical miles from the French mainland, Jersey's the largest of the Channel Islands. Its name may be synonymous with creamy milk and delicious potatoes, but its coastline is mouth-watering too. However, after the sunshine of Guernsey, the weather here has now taken a turn for the worst.
When people dream about living by the sea, they think of blue skies and sunshine. But this is the British Isles, and that is unrealistic. Even here in the Channel Islands, you get grey, blustery, stormy days like this. But if you've got the right house in the right location, they can make days like this exciting and something to look forward to. And I'm off to see just such a house.
I'm heading to Corbière on the exposed and rocky southwestern tip of the island. Walking along the old railway track that hugs the coast. And at the end of the line is a Victorian station building that's been transformed into a home designed to embrace the elements. It's a remarkable mixture of solid Jersey granite and toughened glass that's as sturdy and immovable as its lighthouse neighbour. This fabulous conversion is owned by Amanda Shaw. So it was an old train station?
Yes, it was the end of the Western Railway line. This was the original station house with a later Victorian addition, but the planning brief was not to interfere with the house because obviously it's a house of historical interest.
The station house opened in 1899 and brought tourists from St Helier along to the beautiful Corbière Point. Derelict since the end of World War II, it was converted into a home in 2009.
Should we get out of this wind?
Yeah, it's very exposed up here.
It's exposed, isn't it?
Even on grey days, tourists still flock to this corner of the island, albeit now brought by road rather than rail. Which can make life interesting when the master bedrooms on the ground floor are made almost entirely of glass.
This is a pretty special view, isn't it?
It is, because you've got all the sea. The downside, obviously, is the fact that everybody walks past your bedroom window first thing in the morning. So
Hello!
you have to make sure that you're dressed before we draw the blinds in the morning.
Linking the 4 bedrooms to the main living area above is a 5.7 metre high glass atrium.
Wow, that is a lovely space, isn't it?
The pink granite which once formed the external wall now provides the perfect backdrop for a suspended library on shelves of varnished walnut.
Oh, ladder on wheels.
Yep.
I love bookshelves with ladders on wheels.
The problem we've got with so much glass is we had nowhere to put books. So I had the bookcase made sail-shaped.
This is wonderful, though. I really love the way it frames the wall. It's really nice. Yeah, really nice.
But I'm keen to discover what awaits upstairs.
Look at that. That is beautiful. That's wonderful.
From Victorian railway platform to 21st century viewing platform, it's epic.
And it's very windy and it's pretty quiet in here, isn't it?
The glass is thick, so there's very little wind noise considering how exposed we are.
The extra thick, toughened, laminated glass units have been specially designed to tackle the elements head on. When it comes to interior design, minimal furniture and some antique binoculars prized from a Second World War Japanese battleship
These are absolutely beautiful.
all help to draw the eye to what's on offer outside.
That's an amazing lighthouse, isn't it? It almost looks like a chess piece that's been plonked on top of the rock.
It's beautiful. It was the first concrete lighthouse ever built.
So it's a piece of architectural history out there.
And whatever the weather comes up with, the opportunity to experience it both inside and out on the elevated deck is special.
Even on a day like today, it's wonderful. It's kind of elemental.
It's raw. Everything comes across. You're aware of the sky, of the weather, time of day, far more than you are in a town. It's definitely a home by the sea.
It's definitely a home by the sea.
Enjoying and embracing this ever-changing climate is what makes coastal living so special. And no sooner has a storm rolled through than the sun makes a sudden appearance, reminding you that there's no place in the world you'd rather be.
How many of us have been on holiday and fantasised about swapping our old life back at home for a new one in the idyllic location we've just fallen in love with? Well, for Vicar Mark Bond, that fantasy came true when he swapped life in Somerset for a beautiful island parish in Jersey.
With its golden sand and turquoise waters, St Brelade's Bay is certainly blessed with natural beauty. That charm's enhanced by the medieval church that sits on the beachfront. And it's here that Reverend Mark Bonds tended to his flock for the past 13 years.
You visited St Brelade's Church,
Yes,
obviously, like you
visited St
did.
Brelade, and I was looking around the church and I was looking at the board with all the names of the rectors, and I wistfully said, I wonder what you've got to do to get a job like this.
And I said to him, they're not for the likes of you, boy, so dream on.
And out of the blue, I got a letter from the Dean inviting me to come and have a look at this parish.
So here we are. There is a God after all.
And he was clearly smiling on Mark and wife Terry. They now live alongside the 1,000-year-old church in a large but modestly furnished rectory. One of the house's finest features is a handmade mahogany staircase with some interesting clues as to how it came about.
It is said by old Jerseymen that if the staircase was bought on a mortgage, then this disc wouldn't have been put in. Sometimes, if it's a very wealthy household, they'll put a nice mother-of-pearl inset here. But we're a humble rectory, we don't have any of that.
Mark's office comes with beach views. Not that he's much time to soak them up, thanks to the church's fantastic location.
More people get married in this church than any other on the island because it's right by the beach. It keeps me busy, so it's a lovely job to have.
Reverend Mark's calling has led him and his wife to a parish and a home that's hard to match. Unfortunately, it's a posting that can't last forever.
When Mark retires, we'll have to move. And that'll be the really hard bit, I think, moving on from here.
When that time finally comes, it's unlikely they'll drift far from the shore.
I was born by the sea and I have to live by the sea. It's a home from home for me. It is absolutely beautiful. And any time of year, whatever the time, it's always sunny.
After my jaunt around Jersey, I'm heading back to Guernsey for the final leg of my Channel Island tour. Here I'll design a fantasy house using a wartime relic.
I think it's pretty bonkers. But then, so's that thing. Look at it. It's amazing.
Before discovering how a derelict tomato packing shed has been converted into a mouth-watering new home.
Very nice family house. You got it just right.
After a fascinating trip to Jersey, I've headed back to Guernsey for the last leg in my Channel Island tour. Each of the islands has its own uniquely beautiful seaside homes. But given the chance to design my own, I'd love to set it amongst a distinctive architectural legacy they both share.
There's one collection of very functional, sinister buildings that pepper both islands, and they're these. Bunkers and military installations built by the Germans, mainly using slave labour during the Second World War. It's extraordinary to think of the amount of effort, and these were never used in anger because the Allies simply sailed right past the Channel Islands and invaded Normandy. All that effort for nothing.
These brutal installations have become an important part of the landscape, and I can see a sort of savage beauty in them. One I'd like to tame and repurpose for a far more human role.
I think I've found the most amazing one. It's here. It's Fort Saint-Marais out on Liu Headland. That's Liu Island over here. So it's got an amazing view looking out over this island, which at low tide is a causeway.
So using the windmill I saw earlier for inspiration, I'd start by building an outer ring to widen the base of the tower. It would be clad in curved timber slats and house the main living spaces. And for the main tower, I'd really go to town on those slits, cutting through that monumental concrete to bring in more light.
Because those slits are quite narrow, I think if you connected the top two, you'd get this much more grand opening for the master bedroom.
The three-storey monolithic tower would house the bedrooms, including a top-floor master suite, crowned with a roof terrace and formal French-style toperied trees, as a playful nod to to our friends across the sea.
So there it is. I think it's pretty bonkers. But then, you know, so's that thing. Look at it. It's amazing. And so that, I think, would make a pretty nice place to live.
There are lots of reasons to love living within touching distance of the sea. One of them is my big passion, surfing.
And I know that the Channel Islands get really good surf, although today it's far from epic. But I'm here to meet a family who are all as mad about surfing as I am.
It's just possible to ride these gentle waves. But they are perfect for 6-year-old Stella Whitmore, who's learning to surf with the help of her dad, Alex. Stella's the youngest of Alex's 3 children, who, like me, love catching waves.
So you're pretty lucky to live here on Guernsey, aren't you? Yeah? Do you like it? Yeah? Do you get to go surfing a lot?
Like Stella, I'd certainly be beaming if I could live this close to a surf beach.
This is going to make me green with envy. How often do you get in the water and go surfing?
When it's good, you know, I'll try and get in 3 or 4 times a week, even maybe on a lunch break, you know, I'll just rush down to sea, have a surf and get back to work.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask that question. I didn't want to hear the answer to that question either.
Located on a rural plot to the northwest of the island, I'm pretty jealous of Alex's home too. The architectural designer and his wife Chloe have created a tremendous family home from what was once a derelict tomato packing shed. Whitewashed walls, slate roof, and a steel cantilevered veranda elevate the building from its humble roots, while some key references to its former life remain.
One feature it did have was this enormous sort of packing shed door, and that's now glazed there, but that's why we put the timber shutters.
I really
there
like those, they're really nice.
Keep its identity sort of.
I assume that that helps in kind of long evenings, summer evenings, from overheating too much.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
just sort of
that's it, yeah.
get those across.
Yeah, you can vary the light and shade.
Was there an option of buying a house ready done, or was that kind of thing not so available?
Not really. We didn't want to buy a house that was already done. We wanted to create our own.
The tomato shed cost £350,000 to buy, and the same again to convert it into a modern home.
So this is the big family space that you really wanted from this house?
Yep. Yeah, it's great.
Open plan spaces can sometimes feel a bit stark and cold, with the vintage furniture coupled with the random mixture of materials and texture give this hub of the house a real coziness.
You've got brick over there, you've got stone cladding here, white plaster. It's quite kind of eclectic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's to try and encourage that sort of relaxed feel.
And if Alex and Chloe require some time out, they've created a perfect bolt hole.
Oh, I see. So this is sort of TV snug private room.
Yeah.
Yes, this is where you can escape.
Up the distressed tulip wood and oak stairs is Alex and Chloe's master bedroom, complete with roll-top bath and vintage double sinks. While the kids have each got rooms they've stamped with their own personal style. My favourite feature has to be the laundry chute. But can I pass the wet towel challenge?
From here, through the laundry chute, into the laundry basket.
Yeah.
That's what the kids have been doing from here.
In.
A bit long, I think.
God, that almost ended up in Jersey, that did.
Practical, stylish and fun. This is a house designed to adapt and grow as the family dynamics within it change. From the boardroom created to accommodate their seaside passions, to the shared spaces both inside and out, Alex and Chloe have used their own experiences of growing up on Guernsey create the perfect environment for bringing up their family.
It seems like a really great place to raise a family.
Yeah, no, it is. It's lovely. We're very lucky with the beaches and the weather, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the childhood that your kids are having is still relatively similar to the childhood that you guys had?
Yeah, pretty much. I think so.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think you can let them sort of go off at a younger age knowing that they're going to be, pretty safe. And, that small island sort of lifestyle is still the same as it was so many years ago.
Very nice family house. You got it just right.
Thanks very much.
It's lovely.
Cheers.
There's a temptation to think of small island life as insular, lacking in dynamism. But that's the opposite to what I've found on Jersey and Guernsey.
I've always wanted to come to the Channel Islands. I had a sneaking suspicion I might quite like it, and I haven't been disappointed. Beautiful landscape, lovely beaches, seafood, surf, and great buildings. But also, there's this fantastic island identity. You know what? I could get used to it here.
Wildflowers lead to extraordinary architecture. Historic farmsteads sit right on the shore, and coastal views come with added adrenaline.